Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1130 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, live from Austin, Texas. We are back from an amazing World Team Trials. To my right, representing Nickelback Nation, Canada, America, and worldwide fans, James Dean Rader. JD, hello.
Hello, hello. Much better shirt than yours.
No, listen.
We're
starting right away. Right away, he's coming after me. Right away, he's attacking Cal Ripken Jr. And also, you don't even know who this is, do you?
No.
It's Brady Anderson.
No, it's not Brady Anderson. This is Eddie Murray. He is one of 7 Major League Baseball players to have 3,000 hits and 500 homers. And you don't even know who he is, supposed baseball player.
I might need to get the backstory on his relationship with Cal as well.
Oh, my gosh. And to the left, John Kozak, you're all my enemies today. It's hands on sight as soon as this show is over. And to the left, Tyler Meisinger, a man who I respected greatly, and now I respect, there he is, even more. He's waving. His hands look like this so that, I don't know what.
His hands can blog.
So Spade's hands can blog. Crazy start to the show already. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. You may have heard 2 minutes of the show already. Us just talking about wrestling. But we're going to start with the World Team Trials. We have a lot. I'm going to tease a video of Tyler Meisinger. It's going to change the way you think about him for maybe the rest of your lives. I know it had that impact on me, and I think it will on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But first, before that, we're going to make you wait for that. JD, where do we start?
Kyle Dake beats Carter Starocci. Was it a takedown?
Well, that is the question. But to me, if you are looking for points, and we should pull it in. And this is, of course, Kyle Dake beats Carter Starocci 3-3. It goes down to a potential buzzer-beating takedown that ultimately on the mat was awarded for Carter Starocci. It got reviewed, and then ultimately,
This is my angle.
yeah, and this is the angle from Tyler Meisinger. So
The
one
clock's
thing,
at 0 right there.
and this is interesting because there was an integration issue from the scoring system to the live broadcast where it goes from 4 to 0. But on the clocks in venue, you can see it actually counts down the way they should. So there's a large portion of that was wrestled that you didn't know if time was in or out. But you can see it a little more clearly here. And if you're just listening, we're replaying an angle from Tyler's camera where you can see it's kind of the opposite that you watched on the live stream. Kyle Dake says really hugged tight. He's kind of sat up in to Carter Starocci, and no 2 was ultimately given on this call. And I spoke with the review officials afterwards. They said they were looking for 3 things. 1, did Kyle break 90? It does not appear that he did. 2, did he hit an elbow or post a hand? And it would be the right elbow, if any, that hits of Kyle. And there was nothing that I could see that said he hit an elbow.
It's like inches.
It's inches.
Yeah, it's so close, or maybe less than an inch.
And you wonder, is that even in a sequence like this, is that even on Dake's mind? Or is he just thinking just squeeze tight?
Yeah, and it also should be noted too, they had cameras set up on every side of the mat that they could use for a review.
Yes.
And so they didn't just have one angle. They had multiple angles that they could compare, and they had the clock that was used for the match. They didn't have the broadcast clock that they could look at. So the review people, they had all the information they needed to make the call and to reverse the call. That was what was maybe the most confusing part of it for us, is we really couldn't hear what specifically they were saying.
It was so loud in there, and it's
yeah, it was so they took it away after it was given by the officials on the.
And I flubbed on the call because I heard something, and then I heard 2 blue. It was like red did not, and then it said 2 blue, and so I was like, oh, 2 blue Carter, but they're like 2 blue was like
canceled
or
denied,
canceled
yeah.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it was a very a confusing little bit there, and of course this position's going to be debated. In folk style, maybe it is 3 on the takedown, but I think in freestyle there is just a different sort of barrier, a different sort of threshold, and I don't think it hit it.
Well, and that's kind of the weird thing. By the rule, not a takedown. But in principle, a lot of people are going to feel like this should be a takedown. You get it on a double leg, you pick somebody up and you put them on their butt, boom, takedown.
Yeah.
Like without any sort of definition, criteria, degrees, angles, you kind of feel like almost this should be a takedown. I don't know if that's how I feel. I don't think it was it definitely wasn't a takedown by the rules, but kind of by principle, I'm kind of like, maybe you should get points.
Well, it's interesting too because sometimes you see it if you have front headlock and you're getting taken down. You can actually break 90 if you're trying to use it as an offensive.
Well, that's anything like a gut wrench. Yeah.
Yeah, in freestyle. So like that's where our American folk style mind is bent. That we're like, well, no, this is a takedown because he's got both legs wrapped up. It doesn't matter if he's locked in a chest wrap. Where you could make the argument that Dake he has an offensive move. He has a chest wrap that he could use.
And nobody in the world more than Kyle Dake, really, from that position. But also part of that is the fact that you got in on a double leg, picked them up, and put them down.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It wasn't he took a shot and I countered, and now I'm in front headlock looking to score.
Tyler, can you pull up the match?
Yep.
I want to go back, go ahead to like kind of middle of the second period, because I think if there's a case for Carter in this, I don't think it's in this sequence. I think there were some edge calls that I think were a little more, they could have went a different way, right? And so one thing, a little background before we get into it, and Tyler found it right away, like the pro that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into that, we have often talked about the issues and the complications with the grounding rule, right? We hate it. We don't like the application. And it feels like over the last year, this season, they've made some really positive changes to make it a little less confusing, but also rewarding action that brings it to the boundary, not giving the defending wrestler an out. And so what they're doing is if you ground in the zone, you're getting an attention right away. They're not giving the point, but you're getting an attention, and then the next time it's going to be a point. So this first instance that we're going to pull in, it's a little different. He doesn't ground in the zone, but Carter puts Kyle in a front headlock, and Dake he starts in the middle of the mat and kind of crawls all the way back.
If you actually fast forward 3 seconds before that, it even looks worse for Dake.
Yeah.
Fast forward 3 seconds.
Rewind.
Fast forward backwards.
Well, and
right here.
And
rewind it back.
As this is going on, when Kyle is down on his knees, if you look at the ref, he's saying, stay in bounds. He's pointing at Dake, stay in bounds, right there.
Dake is crawling backwards here.
Yeah.
This is not Carter's pushing him forward. He's crawling. And so he goes out of bounds. That should have been, my understanding, an attention. Maybe
that's also a lot of times not when they call out of bounds right away.
Yeah.
Either they'll give Carter an opportunity to come behind or bring Dake up.
Yes.
And score. It was immediately your toes out, boom, dead.
So then if you go to the final 30 seconds, I think it is, you see another instance that we can debate a little bit here, where I also feel like there's questions if it could be given for Carter as well. Keep going.
Sure. In that one previously, I did think Dake should have been
hit for attention.
Yes.
Which
This
is not
one,
a point.
Right. This one, I did not think he should have been.
Skip a little bit. Because
it's right here.
All right.
Oh no.
No, they center up.
Is it after the restart?
No, right now. Yeah, they mop a little bit and then.
There.
So right here. So Carter's pressures Dake. Dake's backing up. Dake's in the zone. He shoots. Dake sprawls his leg back, chest locks, and goes out of bounds. To me, based on my conversation, because I asked, because I was complimenting the officials, Sammy Julian and that crew, hey, I like how you guys are calling. He's like, yeah, that's how we're going to do it. They basically ground in the zone. We're going attention right away, essentially. And they didn't do that when he crawled backwards, and they didn't do that there when it felt like Dake backed out towards the zone. Of course, this mat didn't have a zone, which is a completely different coverage. We'll get there. But beyond, it's very obvious he is in the zone. He would be in that area. And so for him
no way to know.
For him to sprawl like that and ground, you wonder, is that an instance where it should have been another attention? And in this case, would it have been a 1.
So you think he should have gotten a step out for that?
Based on my understanding of the interpretation and also my just feelings of what should be rewarded, yes.
Yeah.
I think Carter Starocci got Dake to go out of bounds off an attack.
Right.
His whole foot went out of bounds. Was he on his? Did he drop to his knees? Yes, he did. Did he drop to his knees under attack in the zone? Yes. So I'm now like, well, maybe I can't follow the plot here. Maybe I don't know how this is going to be called because it feels like I watched a whole weekend where it was one way and then this way they didn't. And of course, now with 10 seconds, we don't have to necessarily play it, but we can. Carter brings him. Dake once again backs right towards out of bounds, backs out. They go 1 and caution in 1, which made it 3-3 Dake's lead.
Yeah. My thing is, if they do give the 1 before where you thought they should have and they didn't, if they do give the 1 then, I don't think they're given.
The
I don't.
caution.
I mean, you.
Well, I don't think Dake egregiously backs out of
he
bounds.
tries to stay in a little bit
Yes.
more, and then it's like, well, who knows? Is Carter able to get to a leg sooner, and is he able to finish?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I feel like all this the what ifs only, you can explain how it would help Kyle or whatever, how Kyle would wrestle differently. But the reality is, Carter Starocci got in on a beautiful shot. That was not part of the plan for Kyle Dake.
Well, they did the little ring around the posy.
That was hilarious.
Hilarious thing, but I was like, Kyle, you might want to lock in here.
He's
like,
smiling too.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of like there's still 6 seconds. I'm like, it's not over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it almost looked
That happened.
way worse.
That happened in 20-some seconds left.
Oh, that was with like 20
Yeah.
some seconds left. Yeah.
Or
They did the mop. So I kind of thought, yeah, I mean, those were things, man, everything happened so fast in this match that when but you're watching, you're commentating it live, you're like not even thinking about what just happened. You're like, oh my gosh, this is unfolding before you. And then I go back and rewatch. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, I thought the second time they went out of bounds was a little bit different and not an egregious caution in 1 scenario, was because Dake sprawls off of Starocci's shot, stays in bounds, then goes chest wrap for a second or two, stays there, and then takes his foot out of bounds. And that was after they had been in a grounded position for, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, something like that. And to me, if that was not a grounding situation, just there is no.
He sprawled completely out of bounds.
Are you talking about the one that I
he didn't.
played, or
Not
that-
before.
Oh, yeah.
Before, and then he attacks chest wrap, and then he takes his leg back. And they're in chest wrap for a second or two. And as Kozak mentioned, that can be an offensive position for Kyle Dake. Now it is defensive to take your legs back after he does that.
You just can't characterize this as offense from Dake when he backs out of bounds. Carter fires a single leg, and just because he gets his leg back, it's not offense from Kyle. It's not. I'm not saying it should be a caution in 1. I'm saying should be should be what was explained to me.
I think it's like, but even as you said, like everything's happening so quick and the stakes are so high, the
Yes.
pressure's so high in this moment. It's like, does this official want to be the one to make that call
Against Kyle Dake, world
like,
champion.
Where we like to think, oh no, it doesn't matter who's wrestling, but we all know it matters. It matters.
It's easier
who's
to just
wrestling.
not do anything than to.
Yes,
to
it's
do
always
that.
it's always easier to stay out of it.
Yeah.
How often do you hear "let them wrestle, let them play it out, let them decide"? How often has a ref heard that
Well,
in their life?
Yeah, certainly. But when it's a scoring maneuver and you're ignoring it, you're not letting the counter is, of course, you're not
Sure.
you're not calling it as. So ultimately, Carter didn't do enough to win, and I think that's 100% how Carter's carrying it. No, Carter's not crying foul in any way, and so that gives me, that's good.
There's some talk in the chat about like just how they think it should be a step out should be a point no matter what. Can you explain to people, but also to me a little bit, because I can't remember why, like the way parterre is defined in freestyle and like why this is the way the rule is?
Well, parterre is whenever anyone
One knee.
is on a knee. So, like, we like to think parterre is when somebody has scored a takedown and is on top in like a gut wrench position or a leg lace position, right? But parterre can be front headlock position, chest wrap position. And so kind of the uniqueness of freestyle is that, like what we've said, is you can be an offensive wrestler in front headlock position or in chest wrap position. And so that's parterre. And so they want to encourage offense from that position to where if you're going for something, if you're going for an offensive move and you go out of bounds, so it's like, no, you're in parterre position. And so then if it's nothing different than if you're on top and you're trying for a gut wrench, and you guys go out of bounds and they don't, expose, well, you don't give up a point for that. So that is like the uniqueness of freestyle in how they define the parterre position, is that it's not just after somebody gets a takedown. It's whenever a wrestler is down on a knee.
Yeah.
You feel like they could write into the rule if you are attempting to be offensive, you are allowed to expose yourself.
Also, because there's no like control in freestyle the way there is in
Right.
folk style, and I think that is something that's important for people to know.
They also have they do have takedown criteria.
Yeah.
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 But like it's not like in folk style, like there's no like if you escape in folk style, there's clearly like when someone goes from in control versus out of control, and there's no like escape point in freestyle. Like they're not looking for that, So I feel like that's an important thing to think about, and how control is determining like folk style versus like in freestyle. Parterre is this whole separate thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What I think is really interesting about this match, the Dake Starocci, is like it's going to be the most talked about match maybe of all time where hardly anything happened in the first 4.5 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a match as it was unfolding. It was like, okay, is this going to be decided by 3 shot clock points?
Yeah.
And then Dake gets a takedown, and then it's like, chaos
Crazy.
for the last minute. And so my takeaway is like, man, Starocci didn't do enough in the first 5 minutes to where he starts his sprint and starts his offensive attacks maybe a little bit too late.
Well, that's why I was picking Kyle Dake going in because I didn't think stylistically Carter matched up super well with Dake. Like it seems like the guys Dake struggles with are your quick twitch, explosive guys. Takatani can dart in super fast from the outside with precision. Zahid can blast through you on a double or hit you with a duck. They're touch and go. Sidakov, when he took him down, it was touch, swim to the outside step. Starocci's not as much of that type of guy. He wants to hand fight, set up his shot, and then kind of pounce and go. So
Not only that, JD, that's a great point, but also Zahid, Jordan Burroughs, Sidakov, Takatani, they're not just quick twitch, they're volume attackers. They're attacking with a lot of frequency. And Starocci right now is a spot picker.
Yeah.
Right? It's like he's waiting for that perfect moment. And when he goes, it almost always works, right? We saw the Marsteller, he hits on a single leg, Chance clears that, darts right in, 2-2, and the match is over. And he almost did it here, but he just did not give himself enough chances. I think one lock on the legs against Kyle Dake is probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to give yourself multiple opportunities. And I think that's the takeaway for Carter. I think positioning is A+. His pressure is phenomenal. His head hand, Kyle got in one time, right? I think if he wants to be, represent Team USA, if he wants to be a world champion, it feels like if he gets his volume of offense up a little bit more, he doesn't have to turn into Zahid where you just spam shots or Mitchell Messenbring, but he's got to attack more. And I feel like wrestling positions are going to favor Carter a lot of the time. So, I mean, to me, I thought it was going to be a close match, but I thought Dake was going to win it. That doesn't mean I was right at all in how this match went. I don't feel right at all. I feel like, holy cow, this went not how I thought. And, if you were not to switch gears, but maybe a little bit, like I wanted to see how Kyle Dake looked here versus the U.S. Open and how that could frame the Zahid showdown again. And I don't know. On the one hand, you have to say Zahid's going to beat him 2 out of 3 times, which that's just a tough pill to swallow. On the other hand, Kyle needs to score points. He can't win like that like he did against Carter, against Zahid. I think it's going to be a real tough challenge. And I think Zahid is I think he's the favorite still.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
what
would have changed your mind?
If he
No, I'm saying like there was nothing in his U.S. Open performance that gives you a whole lot of confidence in that result switching.
Well, I think he did get Zahid tired. I think he probably learned a lot in that.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, but from his World Team
Oh, you mean
Trials
trials.
performance.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
No, exactly.
I was really impressed with his ability to go get a takedown on Carter.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Like, who does that? Who needs a takedown on Carter Starocci and gets it?
Yep.
Like, that is huge for me.
And
Yeah.
in the moment too, it looked like Carter was gonna get put on the clock again.
He was.
The whistle began to like motion towards him, and so, I mean, Dake could have just sat and waited for that to happen, but he went out and got it. I don't know. My hot take maybe on the Zahid Dake matchup is if it goes 3, I think Dake's winning.
Yeah.
I think if Zahid wants to beat Dake, he's got to just put him out. Win the first one, leave no doubt. Don't let it go to 3 with Kyle Dake.
I don't know why I'm thinking of this matchup, but like, do you guys remember 2017 David Taylor, Jaden Cox?
Mm-hmm.
David smoked him in the first match, and then Jaden just like it was a weird series, to be honest.
Super weird,
Really
yeah.
weird. But then it just the scores lessened, it tightened up, and Jaden,
You want to talk about
who in
sweaty wrestlers slipping all over the mat?
oh yeah,
2017 Jaden.
Jaden in some ways had almost like
Kale fired up.
almost had like a Dake factor of like body awareness and defense that really just challenged David, the supremely offensive wrestler. I think there's some parallels here in this match.
Yeah.
And like if Kyle Dake if he loses 6-2 in the first round, there's no part of Zahid that should take comfort in that. Right. And that would be my thought. I no amount of deficit would make me think Dake is cooked here, you know?
And wasn't it, what year did Taylor and Zahid wrestle in Final X?
22.
22. In that series, wasn't the first match super tight?
Yes.
Taylor,
And last year too, right?
and then Taylor widened the gap, Taylor widened the gap.
Absolutely.
Last year, when like the first match was what 1 point, 2 point
Crazy
match?
close. He hit that duck on him.
He pins him in the
Yeah.
second match. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's got to be in the back of Zahid's mind too. Like, man, yeah, I've won matches, or I've been close in matches, and then it goes. So he's got to exercise some demons a little bit here to get past Kyle Dake. I do not think the public's view will be that Zahid is a daunting favorite here. I think Dake, the competitor, commands too much respect.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a 4-time world champion.
Yeah.
I'm big.
Well, but I mean, you're just saying like no question Zahid's the favorite, but I think like I don't know.
I do think, well, yeah, no question Zahid has earned the right to be the favorite by beating him at the U.S. Open. And he would be my pick, but you're not like super confident going in there because you have to pick against Kyle Dake, which is it's a thing to do.
Twice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
2 times.
Right. My takeaway from this was we have 3 solid options at the world level at this weight at 86 kilograms.
100%.
Like, I think Carter Starocci is a guy who could go compete for a senior level world medalist. I'll even say 3.5. I'll throw Chance in as
I say 4, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I'm excited to see. There's a lot of question like, well, is Carter in? Is he really wrestling? Is this thing? Is he doing MMA? I think he's locked in on freestyle wrestling. I think this performance shows that. I think his rhetoric post, just communicating with him, this is his focus, right? This is a guy that just only does like combat sports stuff in his life. Like, that's just like it. So seeing someone like him, like if he is doing some MMA practicing, I don't think that means it's in lieu of or instead of, practicing wrestling. I think he's just a little fanatical.
In Dake's interview, he was like, yeah, Carter says all day work. It's true. He's in there all the time. He's always in there. So.
This is a guy who his freshman year, Kyle Sanderson said he's the hardest worker I've ever been around. Kyle Sanderson. Think of the guys that he's been around. Think of himself. And that's what he said about Carter. And so Dake, I think Dake knew what that match was going to look like and knew it was going to be tough. And I think it's just, man, Dake, the winner, does it again.
I heard some days Starocci will line guys up. He'll be like, they have practice at 3 or 4. p.m. or whatever, and he'll text somebody like, "You're not wrestling at practice today. You're wrestling with me at 1 p.m." And then he'll text another guy, "You're not wrestling at 2 or at 3. You're wrestling with me at 2." And then he'll do that for 2 hours, then go to practice and do a normal practice for, an hour or two.
That's crazy.
And stay after, put in extra cardio.
Dude, the thing this makes me think about, though, is, like, because Dake said he's committing to the next 4 years.
Heck yeah.
Like, this is going to be so hard for him. Like, if, let's say he somehow, I don't know. Like, it's just, what are the odds that Dake, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Never makes a team again?
Yeah, like.
I mean, yeah. He needs to get bigger. Can he get much bigger? There are diminishing returns if you get bigger, right? There's a point that it'll help him, and then there's a point where, like, other aspects of his game could suffer.
Speed, conditioning.
Yeah, and you saw this with when David made the move to 86 in 15-16. It affected him, right? For a little bit. He wasn't able to wrestle with that insane pace that broke Yazdani multiple times until a couple years.
His first international tournament, he got so tired.
Yeah.
And he lost to an Iranian Lashkari.
Lashkari was good.
Mm-hmm.
But for Dake, he's such a different style than David. David is the prototypical volume attacker, go, attack you forever, and then you're just not going to have anything left at the end. Whereas Dake is a little more, he needs to build up so he can, like, endure and stay in the middle. It's going to be interesting to see how he carries it. Or maybe he says, you know what, 86 isn't for me. I don't think he's going to say that.
Go 92.
Go 92. But yeah, maybe he eventually goes down to 79. I don't think so. And him making the trials here is a big statement. And the thing is, if he somehow beats Zahid, probably going to medal, then he's got the bye, and then everything is, then from that
he's cooking.
position, he's in good position there. Especially if you can get it before the Olympic trials. If you get that bye going in the Olympic trials, which maybe they'll change this. I have been advocating that the Olympic trials process needs to change. Not the qualification, but we should not be rushing this thing through in 2 days and having a guy that chills all weekend.
You want the Final X format.
Why not? I think it'd be amazing.
I'm curious if we see after this year the process change to where they allow, like we just said, we have four world medal contenders at 86. That means we have 3 guys that can't go 79 now and can't go 92 because they all tried to make 86. So I'm curious if they try to, change some things around where you allow someone, like if Dake doesn't make the team, he can challenge off at 79, or Zahid goes up to 92, that kind of thing, because it only hurts. Like it's awesome to watch, but it does hurt Team USA.
What if you did, like, Olympic weights in one cycle and non-Olympic weights in another cycle or something?
What do you mean? Like
2
trials?
Final X's,
Yeah,
2 trials.
Yeah, it's just, there's having that many events, I think, becomes a complication. But I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. And just thinking about this point of, like, who's on the team, who's not on the team. Like, our team is so different this year. Like, 57 will be the same. 61 could be the same. 65 different. 70 different. 74 different. 79's different. 86
different.
92's different. 97 very possibly different. 125 will be different. So it is for USA Wrestling, Coach Bill Zach, man. This is a new crew. It's an exciting crew. I think I'll be as excited for Worlds as ever, right? Just seeing a new crew going at it. Of course, we got to get the team, but I'm excited.
In Dake's semifinal with Keckeisen, the way Keckeisen came out, clubbed him hard, double into the table. There was a split second where I was kind of like, I don't think Dake's gonna lose this match, but I'm like, dang, did Parker just make adjustments and he come out, take it to Dake, and gonna make this thing interesting?
People think that Dake will make 2 teams this quad. All 4, 21%. That's pretty high. Anyway, one thing I was gonna say about what were you just saying, JD? I had a point.
Keckeisen.
Oh yeah, we talked about this afterwards. Like, when Dake gets mad, like, he is a different. He's like,
you unleash the
actually
beast.
goes beast mode. He got really mad in the Sabalov match and just killed him because that was just an officiating catastrophe. And then here he got, like, Keckeisen just shot through his face, blacked his eye, He slaps the mat. Maybe it's pain, but I think he's just kind of mad. And then he just went wild on him. He was doing some absolute beast mode stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's still like the strongest 86. Like some of the stuff he can do defies like logic.
Yeah.
Enough 86 talk, unless there's anything else.
No, that was
on
great.
the matter. I think the second biggest kind of story takeaway from the weekend was PJ Duke winning 70 kilograms.
Big weekend for Duke Mafia, certainly. I mean, going through Antrell Taylor, the reigning 157 champ, Ridge Lovett, the 149 champ, reigning, and then Bryce Andonian. It's up there. It's for a high schooler as impressive a run as we've seen. You know, Jax Forrest did what he did, but I think this is right up there. Now the question is, you know, can this guy go with Yanni?
Yeah.
I think he can go. You come through this bracket,
Yes.
you can go with Yanni. He's not my pick, but I don't think you are a stupid individual if you are picking him to be Yanni Diakomahalis. You come through this bracket, you're that good.
Yeah, and what's also wild, it's like we all knew Duke winning was
On
like
the table.
yeah, there's a really good possibility to where because of what he's already done on the senior level, already beating Will Lewan, Bryce Andonian, JQs. And so like that's crazy. But I also think of the guys he faced this weekend and then compare them to Yanni. It's like different. Yanni's a way different matchup to where I don't know how that stylistic matchup looks. Like
He's also a different competitor.
Yeah, the most experienced, most credentialed guy he's faced. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't spent a ton of time thinking about that matchup, but it's really a clash of styles.
Going into the tournament, you know, like what you think about PJ Duke is like ultra physical, super tough, like beyond his years strong. And what I saw differently this weekend is like, no, this guy is extremely heady. He's very tactical. He understands where he's at on the mat. He makes all the right moves at the right time. Just a really good feel for the sport, and also just like tactically, he's beyond where I thought he was, right? And it's not that I didn't think he was good there. It's like, well, you just don't know. You haven't seen him in the fire enough times in enough tight matches to know that he was this close to losing to Antrell Taylor. Right?
And Ridge Lovett.
And Ridge Lovett. Oh, yeah, Ridge Lovett. I mean, it's like, you know, that will be debated for sure.
Yeah, and Andonian, like there is a case for Andonian to get some more points on the edge of the mat there when he does inside trip. I don't know a ton that was made out of that, and he almost gets a takedown. The defense by PJ Duke was nuts. Also,
Yeah.
yeah. See if you can. I think it's right here.
This
No,
is a crazy exchange. Yes, it is.
right there.
Man.
It is close.
It happened right in front of us. I don't think PJ landed on his back.
Should it be 2?
For Bryce?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a takedown?
Interesting.
To what?
2 points.
I know, but for what?
I guess it should be 4.
Give us like a frame by frame, Tyler.
He changes. I mean, Bryce lands on his back.
It's Bryce's move though.
I know.
Does PJ expose like that? It is
No.
very close.
It is right at like a 90 almost. But I don't think he did.
He did not. I mean, this is the one thing I feel certain of. PJ did not expose in that.
All right, see if you can stop it at the right time.
That's the one thing you feel certain of?
I feel certain about a lot more things than that.
Well, like
Right there, look at that. I don't know that right shoulder.
yeah,
that
it's
is
already coming
really
through.
close. Yeah, it's coming through.
I don't find it to be close.
Even there, look at how close it is there. As he's already coming through, that means he was closer to breaking 90 than there. And right there, it looks like 90 degrees.
I hear your passion and I respect it, and yet you're just wrong.
I don't think so. Like you cannot say you're that sure.
Is that the face of a man that thinks he exposed?
Yeah, look at him. He's like,
Actually
what's?
kinda is.
He's like,
He looks
what's
mad
the
worried.
what's the
Kinda
call
is.
there? Yeah. He's like, oh boy, did I just give up 4 points?
No, I see calm.
Nah, I don't know.
No, I think they got this right.
I would love to see a different angle.
He's uncanny at how because he did a similar thing to Melvin in that kind of.
He can just the way he can flip his hips so quick with so much power is
He has got
The one
that-
where he stepped out of bounds though,
Yes, he
against
did.
Melvin.
it's really similar to this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got it right.
But the Ridge Lovett call too on the edge, like that's he was very close to dropping matches, but he like that speaks to the type of competitor that he is. man.
Right.
It's like he's just a winner.
Yeah, I guess he could have lost all 3 matches very reasonably.
Mm-hmm.
Right, even the Antrell one, it kind of got away from him, Antrell at the end, but it was really that 4-point exchange that was the difference. Where Antrell, I don't know what Antrell was actually doing. I've watched it a bunch of times. I cannot make sense of what he thought was going to happen. But PJ just puts him flat on his back, and that put it kind of out of reach for Antrell. But Antrell was winning at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Yanni wrestled Andonian at the Open and
pieced him up.
pieced
right?
him up. So, but I don't think that means much in this matchup. Andonian's a different guy.
Bryce is a guy you kind of throw all his. Now you don't throw them out the window. You throw them out the window by basis of comparison.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, even comparing a previous matchup, Bryce got destroyed. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's.
You can't see his
Oh, yeah.
shoulders.
Oh, I see it.
Ready?
I had a great vantage point.
No. I don't know.
Yeah,
See if you can zoom. Can you zoom in?
I can zoom in.
does your
Yeah.
camera have a zoom?
Zoom
Hold on, I
lens.
have to rewind.
Look at the Duke hater Kozak just sitting there, just ready to
Oh.
hate on it.
Hold on. There we go.
I wrote an article saying why
hate-
PJ Duke can win the US Open.
I
Or why
know. It was just you're just trying to set him up so you can knock him down. Classic
That's tough to
media.
see.
it's tough to. It is.
I mean,
that's
look,
probably the closest.
and it's not.
That might be.
He has to
Snyder.
land. He has to land also.
He is land. He's on the
Yeah,
mat.
He's levitating.
No, he's on
He's
on Bryce's
levitating.
arm. He's not Dua Lipa.
I'm
don't
not.
know.
I'm
I
not
mean-
mad at it not being called.
Thank you.
It's
But it could very reasonably have been called.
yeah.
And
Look
you're
at how on
saying-
top of it I am.
It could have been called.
You
it
probably
could
can't
not
even
have
see
been
because it's
called.
underneath the table.
I'm all over this. No.
Looks like you're looking up too.
I'm looking to see what they're about to call.
Yeah. What are you guys looking at?
I'm trying to see. I think the ref's over to the left of us.
Okay. Okay.
Be a real shame if somebody photoshopped a hot dog going into Kozak's mouth. Not still.
Glizzy. Oh,
Yeah.
Christian's standing up.
Yeah, I'm giving a standing ovation for that call. Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll see. Anyway,
Anyway,
fun exchange.
Indonian's match with Willouan, he did 2 of the craziest things I've ever seen.
That was AI.
He's
That didn't
crazy.
happen.
What'd you say?
I said that was AI.
Oh yeah, that was it. That was they were USA Wrestling was messing around with AI simulation matches.
Well, they should continue because it was cool.
yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, PJ, I think maybe he can do it. I think the path for him, he's like, I mean, is he gonna go in and beat up Yanni? Is he gonna be out physical Yanni Diakomahalis? I'm just not. I'm
Yeah.
just not there.
To me, it feels like 2 scores to 0 or 1.
Yeah.
Yanni over Duke. That's just what I'm feeling.
And
Yanni's transition offense to parterre has gotten a lot better too over the last few years. So I could see him opening up a match
Yeah.
that way.
I can see the cat factor for Yanni playing a role here. Like
yeah.
PJ picks him up, like body lock, and somehow he lands
On his-
square and like is able to recover. Like that's a different. None of these guys have that kind of.
I
feel
could
that
see
Yanni-
like the Bo Bassett, Bo Bartlett position where Bo Bassett gets a point on a step out while he's in quad pod. I could see Yanni like doing that to PJ. You know what
That
I
was
mean?
goofy.
Like stuff like that where Yanni's just like crafty.
Yeah.
Is PJ Duke the #1 pound for pound high schooler in the country?
This is such a good question. It's the classic, in my opinion, pound for pound debate. And really at this point, I think it can only be PJ Duke or Jax Forrest. Just because as great as Marcus is,
All right, who's going to make the world team? Senior world team to also decide the #1
Yeah.
pound for pound
Yeah.
spot in high school.
I mean, kind of. But I think this has happened some in high school wrestling where you've got one guy who's is in the streets so consistently, so constantly, and that person, Jax Forrest in this instance, has more losses by nature. Whereas PJ Duke has an exemplary resume in terms of the win-loss record. But not, he's not the guy at the Super 32 and the Ironman and all these different tournaments. He doesn't wrestle that kind of a schedule. But he hasn't lost since 2022. Okay, so you have the unblemished versus a guy with losses but more elite wins, and you're left to kind of, what do you value more? A volume of elite wins? Not that PJ Duke doesn't have a lot of good ones, but he does not have as many as Jax Force, and he does not wrestle in a weight class as competitive as Jax Force, where he's been going up against Luke Lillidahl and Anthony Knox and Seth Mendoza and Seidel, all these guys, right? That's just not the weight class that PJ Duke has been in, and he's not been at these tournaments. Like, he doesn't wrestle who's number one, never did. Super 32, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a really interesting debate. I feel like after this weekend, I was kind of leaning towards PJ Duke, and this may sound like a stupid reason. It may sound dumb, but the Vargo loss for Jax, because losing, you lose to Luke Lillidahl. Am I really gonna say, wow, that really changes the perception? Not for me. You lose to Seth Mendoza. Okay, well, you've also massacred Seth Mendoza multiple times, but you lose to a guy that's kind of like fringe ranked, unranked. It's like, all right, just PJ Duke is never gonna lose to a guy like that, in my opinion, or he certainly hasn't. So I don't know. You could go either way with it. That was like the data point in my mind that made me think, and maybe that's like the least relevant one, but it's just what stood out to me.
To me, this might be controversial, but
Wow.
like a pound for pound argument internet senior level, like I'm okay with taking in like years of data because
Absolutely.
it makes sense. For high schoolers, I feel like you have to go year by year because the kids get better at such a rapid rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's clear to me that this year's Jax is completely different than last year's Jax. And that's why I think that right now you have to say Jax because of who he has wins over and what his most recent year has looked like.
Because you would say PJ Duke would never lose to a guy on
Vargo.
Vargo's level. You would say the same thing about Forrest now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who don't follow high school wrestling as closely,
Yeah. Sorry.
Jax Forrest lost in the regional finals a year and a couple months ago.
2024.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is that? 15 months ago that he took a loss to a guy who's fringe ranked. But
1 week
and
later,
then
you attack that
yes.
guy.
yeah,
True.
At the state tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, and I think that is a good point, looking at 2022 stuff. How relevant is that while you're comparing Jackson and PJ? And like, okay. So over the last year, Jackson won it. Who's number one? Did he win Super 32? Did he wrestle at Super 32? I guess is the better question. I know he didn't lose. He won.
Yes, I do believe he did.
He won.
He's won it before.
PIAAs, which had Aaron Seidel in it. And
Like
what-
the most
what many
famous match in PIAA history.
Yeah, very possible. I'm trying to think. I'm sure he won Ironman and Powerade as well. I think.
He really cares about that when you won the U.S. Open.
But it's just kind of painting the picture. You bring that up because PJ was not at those tournaments.
Sure.
PJ did not step into. It's easy to not lose at a tournament you're not at, right? This happened with like Dayton and like, I think Alex Marinelli, where Dayton lost to Vito and Luke Karam at Super 32, but he had also beaten like Stevan. He had beaten, I think this was before or after he had beaten Spencer Lee. He had beaten Darian Cruz, who was an All-American NCAA. He had beaten Ronnie Bresser, a lot of good guys. And Alex Marinelli was like higher than him in the pound for pound because he hadn't lost, but he also did not go to any of these tournaments. So I was like kind of team. I kind of thought Dayton should have been ranked higher than he was in that instance. And now maybe I'm taking the opposite perspective of PJ. I don't know.
You think it should be PJ?
I don't know. Kind of, but I value, because I do think pound for pound, while I agree with your point that it should, these guys are so different year over year. I also think pound for pound should take in more time than like national high school rankings by weight class. So I don't know.
so I believe Jax's last loss was at U20 trials to Luke Lillidahl. Twice he lost to him.
Yes.
And since then, he's won Fargo, Super 32, who's number one,
You beat Seth Mendoza at Fargo.
Ironman,
Right.
Powerade, Pennsylvania States.
All right, I'm back in.
The senior U.S. Open. Yeah,
Well, he did not win World Team Trials.
he didn't even compete.
Didn't even compete.
Wow.
Didn't even make the walk.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Like a year ago, he was losing to DeSanto, and this year he messed him up.
That's true.
Like that's like such a good like bar for how much better he's gotten, in my opinion.
Great example. Great example. I'm back
He
in.
lost to Marcus Blaze at Olympic trials and then won that bracket
I don't think he lost to Marcus. I think he lost to Luke, right? And Luke lost to Marcus.
at the Olympic
Yes.
trials
Yeah,
Let's see.
I don't think they wrestled.
for third place. No,
Not Jax lost.
for third place.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mark-
no, you're right.
Marcus beat
Okay.
Luke,
Oh,
I think, and
Please
then
apologize.
I think Marcus beat Luke.
Newt.
He beat Newt Gingrich and Luke Lillidahl, and then I think he beat Jax for third.
You got it, Kozak, or
No, I was looking at the high school ranking spreadsheet.
Okay.
I don't think David has the Olympic trials in the results in the spreadsheet.
that was the craziest.
I'm
thing
almost
was-
positive. That
Yeah, I'm back in. It's Jax. I value the streets. Be in there, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. PJ's process is working. He's in Final X. He is going to be a next level kind of talent who's arrived right now.
Well, and if you consider Luke Lillidahl is ranked number 5 in the world right now at
Yeah.
57 kilograms, and that's Jax's last freestyle loss.
Right.
Like it's not a bad loss. He won U20s this year, and PJ lost to the guy who took silver at U20s. So.
Yeah.
and Jax is the number 1 pound for pound right now, ranked by David Bray. Clearly, this could change theoretically after the World Team Trials haven't been updated since. But I think part of the process was Marcus Blaze was ahead of PJ Duke. And then Forrest wins that bracket instead of dropping below PJ, who didn't enter the senior U.S. Open. Jax jumps ahead.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's how rankings kind of go, not just snap, okay, now we completely readjust.
Yeah, okay, I'm now certain. So what you're telling me, since the U20 trials, he won Fargo, who's number 1, Super 32, Ironman, Powerade, PIAAs, and the Senior U.S. Open. And like of those tournaments,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let's see what PJ has done in that.
he got U20 silver. So he was on a world team that Jax wasn't on. So that's a little tick in the PJ Duke column. But then after that, so like you don't punish him for not wrestling in Fargo. He's on a dang U20 world team. I think they weren't even allowed letting the guys wrestle
Yeah.
Fargo, which is smart. They should do the same for U17s, honestly.
Yeah, David doesn't have anything in the spreadsheet from U20s until until the state tournament.
Yeah.
So that's from May or June until March of the next year.
No national competitions for PJ.
9 or 10 months.
And during that time, Jax hit Super 32, who's number 1, Powerade, and Ironman. So he hit 4. So
And PA states.
in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, not even counting Pennsylvania states, because even though that is a national level talent tournament.
And I don't know the rules in New York, what they're allowed
Yeah.
to do and travel to. Like that could just PJ being also a victim of his high school.
Like Yanni did everything though.
Yanni was Super 32.
Yeah. Obviously, he could have done Super 32,
But Ironman.
but
maybe.
Ironman,
Right.
yeah, and obviously the Pennsylvania State Tournament is.
He could have entered that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a fun debate. And, if one of them makes the world team, then maybe we'll know for
Then
sure.
it's settled. What if they both make the world team?
Only 23 votes in as of right now, but the chat thinks PJ Duke should be above Jax Forrest.
That's because he's front of mind, Like if you ask,
Yeah,
question-
recency bias.
If you ask this after the U.S. Open, and it's like, well, yeah, it's Jax Forrest.
What if he beats Vito in a match, but loses the 2 out of 3, and PJ gets swept by Yanni? Then it's like, oh wow, he beat a world champ.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, if
Yeah.
Jax gets swept, but PJ takes a match. Or wins.
Yeah.
These are the things. This is a different era of high school ranking.
That's tough too because we don't know what Yanni is at 70 kilos yet, and we know what Vito is. At
I know he's pretty
61.
good at
Dude,
70
he's
kilos.
freaking good. I mean, he's a world silver medalist, senior level. It's 5 kilos.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He's not a 65 anymore. Like he's too big.
He picked James Green up 10 feet in the air and threw him down.
I don't know. It's tough to like judge a guy based off 1 year at 65, because it's so volatile.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Trying to avoid his medal.
I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm just
Say
saying
he
like,
didn't earn that medal. You're trying to take that away.
That's definitely not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying like it's. I think I am excited to see how he does at 70.
Mhm.
I think that he can do really well, but I don't think that you can just say he's gonna like. I don't think you can for sure say.
Well, just like you couldn't say that when he was at
confidence in
65. He didn't. He
Yeah.
medal every year. He just did the 1 year.
I don't know.
But you can say he's a
I think
threat.
if you do it at one weight, it's like
What I'm saying is Vito's a 2-time world medalist and world champion at 61. So like what he is at 61.
yeah.
This is Yanni's first year at this weight. He has been kind of like not the same guy for the last couple of years that he was when he medaled. So I think that if Jax
Sure.
beats Vito, it's more telling than if PJ beats Yanni.
Maybe.
As we know, Vito is the #1 pound-for-pound wrestler in
in the
America
U.S.
right now, so
Give me a break.
Hey, we talked about James Green. Was this tournament the beginning of Father Time catching up with James Green? What do you make of his loss to Caleb Hinson?
I think, it was so similar to the Albania World Championship performance where James looks great and then something happens.
he didn't have anything left.
Just nothing
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Melted.
And it's just something we've watched James forever. And that's never been a part of his. Every wrestler has flaws. James Green has never had the flaw of just running out of gas or just having nothing left. Like the nits to pick on James Green were like late in a match, he'd give up a point or do a little tactical things. It was very, very small. It was never like this. So between his last two major competitions, we saw this. Of course, he wrestled at the U.S. Open, but seeing it at Worlds and here, I'm like, I don't know if it's Father Time or what, but there's something that's happening to him that I've never seen before. I've been watching James wrestle at such a high level for such a long time.
At this one right here, it was so weird. I was shooting this, and James made like a noise.
Yeah.
Like, almost
He,
like his body like
like
froze.
yelped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it didn't seem like anything crazy happened. It was
It's just a snap go behind.
It was like it was like his body just had nothing left. Like
Yeah.
it was so uncharacteristic to see.
Absolutely.
Could be Father Time.
Mhm.
It could be. I mean, it's gonna happen for everyone. But that's what I was wondering. But he sends out the tweet right after like nothing changes. Like my fire is still like he's not done. It's not the end of his run, which that's great to hear and see. And it's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
it was weird.
But yeah, James is the man
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Ian Parker goes back-to-back senior tournaments, taking third.
This guy goes crazy.
But it's hilarious because this time, with all the forfeits on the backside, he wrestled 2 matches in Kentucky. Both were Ridge Lovett. They split.
That's crazy.
Ridge won on the front side, 10-0, and then I think Ian won for third place, 5-4.
Well, you know where he's training. Virginia.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think's gonna happen, JD?
Trained by some Cyclones.
And we wrestle back in Virginia.
In Virginia, we take third.
It's kind of tough. So I do the domestic rankings, and they'll be out later this afternoon.
Parker's now pound for pound #1.
But it's kind of tricky when guys split, like what you do with them. And generally, at these senior level tournaments, for right or wrong, I maybe put a tenth of a percentage more on your front side result.
Boo. Most recent result.
That also happens, but when it's 10-0 and then 5-4, it's kind of like, and like,
I actually don't disagree because a tournament like this where like the only thing that really matters is that you win on the front side. Like the only prize, like if you lose your spot, you are not getting on the team. No way, no how. So
you're fighting for national team.
Yeah.
Most guys don't even care about that.
But even there's
Ian Parker trying to get that insurance.
There's no man's insured. But yeah, no, I don't know. You're probably right.
But
Top side.
but I'm not going to. I'm going to go Parker over Ridge because of also his solid U.S. Open performance.
We're getting a lot of questions about this, how you're going to handle the Ian.
I know.
I know.
Who's going to be ranked number 6 at 70 kilograms?
There's so much more world
Yeah,
to talk about.
We're talking about national team.
All right, 65 kilograms.
Before that, news of the day. Kevin Ward, now on staff at Oklahoma State, named assistant coach at Oklahoma State. Of course, he was a coach at Army. Head coach.
Coach Ian Parker there.
Coach Ian Parker there. It all connects. Great segue by me, accidentally. Did an amazing job at Army, and now he was an Oklahoma State alum, now headed back to Stillwater. I think this is a very, very savvy hire by Coach Taylor. Kevin brings a ton of experience. I think he's a great, the development at Army was fantastic, and I think he's a different sort of skill set from the staff they have now, where you got David, this is only his second year coaching, Jimmy Kennedy, and Tyler Caldwell. Those are very much like hands-on in the room guys. Now you've got a guy that's run a successful program for a long time, so a different sort of skill set on the team. I think this is a great hire.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Army, whoever takes over the Army position, they're going to have a good team. Right now, my 2026 recruiting class rankings, Army is number 12, but I'm going to update them later this afternoon. They're going to be number 7.
Dang.
In 2026, they have currently 6 guys in the top 100 committed there from the class of 2026, and 12 total recruits.
Dang. I feel like Navy has some good classes coming in too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a hire where maybe it's not one like you were looking for. Like when you think about, okay, Thomas Gilman leaves, who do you bring in? But then you're not maybe guessing Kevin Ward, right?
No.
But after it's announced, you're like, dude, this is an awesome hire. Like it makes so much sense. Like you really feel like you said, like the skill set he has is gonna help elevate the
Absolutely.
Oklahoma State program. So it's cool, and then it opens up the door for Army. It's like who's going to take
that's a great
head
question.
coach there, which I think a lot of people would say it's a job that is a good one, right? It's like one that people would jump at.
Absolutely, it's a good job. He helped make it a good job. So yeah, more to come there, but wanted to get that bit of news out that just dropped, and now we can continue with World Team Trials talk.
Mm-hmm.
Resume. I want to give you props, Christian, because
Wow.
you've been driving the Real Woods train since before the U.S. Open, even saying, I think this guy has a lot of potential. I didn't disagree with you, but I was definitely not riding as high for Real Woods as you have been in. You kind of talked this into fruition.
Yeah,
It's crazy because I was on the Real Woods train as soon as he started training at Michigan. So I don't appreciate giving Christian all the credit
you
here.
didn't say nothing.
I did say things.
We JD listened to it all. No, I mean, I don't know how high I was on him going into the Open. Out of the Open, I thought you could look at you just read the results and think one thing, but if you watched him, it's like, wow, he had a lot. I really feel like he's right now in America our best 65 kilogram. Does he have the seasoning to go get a medal? Does he have the seasoning to beat someone like Joey McKenna, who is just the prototypical vet with so many matches, so much experience, so many different positions he's been in? But I feel like Real Woods brings, and the crazy thing about this, if Aiden Valencia doesn't just fall down at the end of the match, we're not even talking about any of this.
That was
Right?
so weird.
It was so
Real basically
weird.
just punches him in the side
gotta
of the
pull
head
that
to
up,
set up
Tyler.
his low shot.
Yeah.
And then Aiden, it's because he got clubbed so hard, he kind of got like knocked to the side. So you seen him leaning like at the waist. So then when he straightens back up is when Real shoots. It was actually
Well, and the way Real shoots, it's almost like he's just falling. He's like falling down.
Yeah.
And catches the ankles and.
You never know what's going to be
he
there.
was around the knee and the ankle, which just led.
He
Like
just
it
like
falling
went
over.
down
I'm
timber
pulling it up.
style.
Pulling it up.
But and obviously Aiden Valencia, one, is really good. Two, is a tough matchup for Real Woods because he beat him twice at the U.S. Open. As we're pulling in here, boom, he just drops.
Yeah.
Maybe we show it one more time, but that's how Real beat him. It said bro passed out into a takedown. Seriously.
Yeah, that was the weirdest shot. Yeah, And Real Woods, you talk about he might be our best metal threat. He had a really good. I think it was.
Just punched it.
Yeah.
I think it was in Albania, the ranking series tournament. He took bronze. He lost to Amuzad. He was beating him at the break.
Oh my gosh.
But he beat Japan's either 2 or 3 there, and it's kind of weird the way that 65 is played out. Real's not ranked right now, but the guy from Japan is ranked like 10th in the world. So it gives you another data point for Real, whereas like he could go and medal. He could go and have success against some of the best guys.
So on the one hand, Real has wrestled like 6 freestyle tournaments, like I think in his life. Like he's hardly wrestled any freestyle. So he's just a totally
Raw.
raw, unpolished diamond, whatever you want to call it. He just does not have a lot of experience. But when you consider like just skill set, just evaluate the skill set, insane speed to the leg. You have to have that at this weight class. You're not gonna hand fight unless you're Amazad, freak of nature, strong. You're not gonna do that. You have to have that athletic factor. But also, he has speed and crazy power. His ability to gut these guys is unbelievable. It's an X factor. It's weird. He's almost Spencer-ish when he gets like he's got some freaky feel there, and he's got a freaky head pinch too.
I think it really surprised Jesse Mendez.
Absolutely.
The gut where he gutted him 3 times.
Yeah, and that was it. And also like Spencer, it's like, okay, like hanging on, right? That was an older Spencer narrative, more so than right anymore, where he just is killing everybody. But for Real, it's like he got up like 9-0 on Jesse, and I think he won 11-9. All right, that's a little concerning.
I think he scored 1 or 2 ones after that initial takedown, gut.
Yes.
And that was pretty much it.
And I think that's a part of the freestyle adjustment too. In folk style, you can coast a lot more easily than you can in freestyle. Freestyle, if you coast, it can go really, really badly, really fast. And like but him gutting everyone, him getting the head pinch on multiple guys, including Brock Hardy, I was so impressed by Real, and I feel like Joey McKenna's going to have his hands full. And though McKenna has more experience and probably more elite wins, I think Real is, in my mind, the favorite to win 65.
Wow.
And I think he's got a month of training. If he can get on the team, this guy by September, it could be a completely different animal.
He could be problems at Worlds for sure.
I really, as much as the talk was PJ and Dake, Starocci and all this thing, for me, Real Woods is the story of the World Team Trials. And I know he barely gets by a guy, but I just think he emerged as someone that I think could be the man at 65.
Yeah, Joey McKenna, for him, he's going to be a tough challenge. To where is Real going to be able to open him up? Is he going to be able to get on top and gut someone like McKenna? I don't know, but I think the other part where you feel better about Real is because of McKenna dropping a match to Destrabats at Pan Am's, where it's like, man, how do you feel with McKenna against a field like 65? It's like, you kind of know it's going to be a tough road. Where Real is like, man, you see him go out there and do this, and you see him. I think Tyler has the his bronze medal matchup against who's that? Ogino.
He does this tricky, like he threatens a chest lock and then goes, "You."
Yeah, what do you call that?
Brock Hardy too.
And it backfired on him a couple times, but
Yeah,
it worked.
It did backfire him a couple times.
I call it the pivot go behind.
Okay.
Because you don't circle around behind, you just
Kind of turn your hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he ends the match here too. I think he guts him.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, so he's got a pretty special feel. So anyway, good stuff at 65. It's exciting.
How about Brock Hardy making it to the finals in his first freestyle performance in quite a long time? He had the craziest match, maybe of the most under the radar crazy match with Seth Gross.
1916? That was crazy. He just got the legs so consistently. And then against Bo Bassett, it was kind of the opposite, where it's just like a counter counter, and that's what killed
Chest wrap,
Bo.
chest wrap, crotch lock.
Yep, and that's what killed Bo in that match. I think if they wrestle that match again, there's a few little adjustments that if Bo makes them in his finishing, like that's one of those freestyle matches. Like the score's one thing, but how it could actually go down differently, I could see it. And the one other thing I'll say about this, I felt like, okay, 65 kilograms, Bo Bassett is probably a good size one. That's a good weight for him. When you sit there on the mat and you see Brock and Bo, you're like, oh, yeah, Bo is a 41-pounder, like not a big one. Like Brock dwarfed him, I felt, in that match. And so that's something to, Bo has his senior year of high school, and then what weight class he's going to wrestle in college is going to be discussed. I feel like right now he's a 41 because I feel like we've said 49, but I'm not as sure.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is 65, it does give me some hope, like, for the future when you, like, look at this field. And even just to see how close they are and someone like Brock Hardy, where his point-scoring potential is, like, so high. And he hasn't committed to freestyle fully. So to see him in the bracket, to know that Aiden Valencia's there, Bo Bassett's there. We think Marcus Blaze is eventually going to end up at 65. Seth Gross for the Olympic year. So, like, our depth at 65 is kind of developing and gives you hope for the future. I think even Brock, we saw him in the airport. He's like, yeah, this field, you wrestle this bracket 10 times, you're going to have, 10 different.
It does feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Yeah, absolutely.
We talked all that pound for pound high school talk. We didn't even mention that Marcus Blaze and Bo Bassett wrestled
I know.
this weekend.
Gosh.
And
Yeah.
Marcus Blaze winning. What was the final?
It was 5-1.
5-1.
He had the big 4 off the go behind. He's patient, great position. I mean, perfect position almost at all times. He's so hard to get to.
Wesley would love Marcus Blaze because he keeps those elbows in.
I've never
Red alert.
seen anyone like elbows in, but his hands up like almost like this. It's really
Like a
a
V.
unique thing. You don't see it like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normally, but that's how he does it. And it works for him. It's sort of an iconic wrestling stance. Do you think about like Metcalf and Ramos, like they used to have their hands down right, like this, ready to like catch, but he keeps them up here.
Yeah, Jordan has like the, where he's dunking. That's his emblem.
Yeah.
Marcus Blaze will just be that.
Yeah.
Just do that shadow of him.
Red alert.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah.
He awesome.
Were you guys surprised by that match?
No,
I don't think so.
I think Christian, you said like you thought Blaze was the favorite.
Absolutely.
If they met, and it kind of played out how I thought it would. That Bo would have a really hard time getting to any offense, and Marcus would score like this.
And Bo didn't wrestle a tentative match here. He attacked a lot and still only gave Blaze really one good scoring opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And Blaze is he's not just, kind of picture perfect positioning. He punishes mistakes.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was basically one, but that's what the match comes down to. It's who can punish a mistake better sometimes at this level.
Well, I remembered it differently. I didn't realize that Marcus initiated this sequence.
It's like a shot, snap.
Yeah, I thought after the match, I was like, man, how do you shoot on Marcus Blaze? How do you beat Marcus Blaze if you can't shoot on him? And then I went back and watched this clip. We can show it again.
Play it again, yeah.
And it's Marcus completely initiating this whole sequence.
I guess Bo was maybe try to drag out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Hardy just sitting there watching.
It's going to be interesting to see how Marcus and Bo both evolve their game from where they're at right now, because they you could criticize both of them in certain ways where like Marcus is like, okay, you're so defensive, like you eventually have to get to the point where you rely a little bit more on offense against the best guys, right?
Yeah.
Where you open up a little more. And Bo, it's like I don't know, like where do you think the Bo needs to take his game to evolve like to the next step from here?
I don't think it's like, I mean, he's got the pace, he's got the tenacity, right? I think just getting to legs cleanly on the best positional guys, like creating that setup. You're not gonna be able to like beat these guys up to the leg. You're gonna have to find a way in, right? Mm-hmm. That's the next thing. That's very reductive, I think. Like it's sort of a little maybe a simplification, but if he learns how to get in, because he's a good finisher when he gets in.
He's wrestling Brock Hardy.
Yeah. But honestly, I tell you, I think he just kind of rushed the finishes and let his hips get too far forward and like not settle back. Like how, I mean, I'm comparing to Kyle Dake and Bo Bassett, so it's kind of silly, but like how Kyle got his hips back and back and back and really took his time on that finish against Carter, right? Like just learning, you know, tenacity to the leg, but patience on the finish. And maybe Brock was going to take him through anyways, but I'm not as sure of that.
Well, and it's wild because any criticism that we have of Marcus or Bo,
They're the opposite.
well, they're the opposite too, but also they're 18 years old. Like,
Yeah.
the fact is, like, you're going to see them improve. And they're also, the criticism is they're losing to guys that Brock Hardy was in the NCAA finals
Yes.
this year.
Beat
Like,
Jesse Mendez this year.
yeah. And so, like, it's so crazy to think of where they're at right now.
But it's not, but like they are like just senior level guys that you can just evaluate just based on what you see.
Yeah.
You know what I've gathered from the last week, though? Because we talked to the Rainies on the show. They said, I'm going to go, one of them said 33, the other one said 41, which means we think Jackson's going 141. We think Marcus Blaze fits in at 141. And now we think Bo Bassett fits in at 141.
It could be insane.
That could be crazy.
If you have a Rainey, or no, I think Forrest is going to be at 40.
Yeah, that's what he's
So yeah, Forrest, Blaze,
Yeah.
and
Bassett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, Bo. Sorry.
Shout out to the Blaze Bros, both taking third here.
Holy cow.
Joey had a
yeah.
good tournament too.
Joey went nuts.
Joey,
It went nuts.
I think Joey might be like the most underrated college wrestler
Yes.
right now because he wrestled as a true freshman, didn't place, and then makes the NCAA finals as a true sophomore. And I mean, I think the other part of it is he's wrestling for Purdue, so it's like he's not in the same spotlight as if he wrestled at Penn State, Iowa,
Yes.
Oklahoma State. But if you and then he takes third at the World Team Trials, like I don't feel like a ton of people are talking about him.
No, I saw some
Yeah.
posts about it, which was cool.
He's apparently 19 years old.
That's insane. He's so young. A lot is made of different ages and whatnot, but that is just frankly young. And I think watching him, he's big. I don't see him as a 57. Maybe he does it again. I don't know. Maybe he redshirts, but I feel like I'd be stunned if he doesn't finish his career up at 65. I thought he looked every bit of 74 kilograms, and yeah, did a great. Also, who did he lose to? PJ?
He lost to
Lost to Quincy and then avenged it, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm in the wrong weight class. Quincy, man, that was close.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got it right. It was
But then he beat him for third.
and then he beat him for third. But like, it's debatable if who should have won that match.
he had the leg hooked, but Quincy was still holding on
Yes.
to a leg, and they reviewed it, and I think they upheld it or they
Yeah,
didn't review it. I don't know.
it was close.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, good job, Joey Blaze.
Rewinding back to 65, Marcus and Bassett. The only reason Bassett was in that match is because of the 1-0 match with
Oh my God.
Bo Bartlett,
Yes.
where Bartlett did not know he was losing the match for 4.5 minutes of it. About
5.5.
5.5. Yeah, it was like
Happened 30 seconds in.
so. 30 seconds in, a weird step out from Quad Pod
For sure, weird.
because the whistle gave one Bo Bartlett.
And that's all that Bo looked at. If you watch Bo's eyes, he looks at that and then he walks right to center and doesn't look up.
The other two officials went one Bo Bassett. How does Bo Bartlett not know he is losing this match until the final 15 seconds?
3 seconds.
Right?
I don't think he knew with 10 seconds he was losing.
Then he was like, "Why are you not attacking me, Bo Bartlett or Bo Bassett?"
I don't know.
And then
I mean,
How much
honestly,
did the Bo factor play?
I honestly think them both being named Bo had a factored in.
You got to go, Bo.
And it was true.
I think it was confusing.
I think that's confusing.
but if you're Bo Bartlett, did you not look at the clock one time?
Well, it's almost like you're not thinking about what color you are. It's just like the scores. In his mind, it's 1-0, and he looks. If he glances at the time score, it just says 1-0, and you're not thinking I'm blue, I'm red, or whatever. And then
Is Bo Bartlett colorblind?
in the these are other relevant questions. In the corner, are they like, okay, Bo, you're down 1-0? I feel like that's not what comes up in the corner. It's like, hey,
Right.
you do this, do that.
Well, because you probably don't assume that he doesn't know the score.
Yeah.
and the way Bo Bartlett wrestles,
The coaches
he
probably
wrestles the
didn't know,
same
yeah.
until the last
30.
right.
It's hard to know.
Well, yeah. The other part about that match is somebody should have been put on the clock.
Yes.
Like, there was 1 point
There's just
scored.
too much action, Kozak.
There's 1 point scored. 30 seconds into the match,
And no one goes on the
and
clock.
then no one goes on the clock. Like, that is
And it wasn't because they kept going out of bounds grounded or anything. It was what you would expect
Also,
from a 1-0 match.
Is this right? Can you?
Yeah, look.
Should you give up a step out here? He
I
does
mean, why
step
not?
out. So basically, if Bo
does Bo
does,
ever,
You can see.
does Bassett ever go out of bounds?
Let's see.
play it out.
Did that right?
No, I don't think he does.
Did that left foot hit?
Eventually,
His
does.
hands.
Oh, there he does.
Yeah, his right foot does there.
So I don't know. I don't know if I understand. When you're on top, I feel like does that change the equation?
But it's not a grounded position
Not grounded.
because his knees
He
are
can
up.
step out and still score, because Bo is the offensive wrestler in this position.
All
Which
right.
Bo?
Oh, dang it, Bartlett.
Yeah.
Bartlett is the
Yeah, I hate the edge rules. I just don't. It's like you don't really know what they say, and you have to have like videos that you watch, like hours and hours of long videos where they explain the intricacies of the edge rule. It's too.
Well, look,
Do
yeah,
you-
one, and then table judge holds up one red.
Do y'all think, for simplicity, it should just be whoever goes out first?
Yes.
Even if it's a scenario where a guy steps out first in the process of getting points. Like you have a double leg and you're running them out of bounds and you got them up, but you stepped out first
Yeah.
and then you plant them out.
I think the more we can make it objective to where it's not in anybody else's hands than what actually happened, then I think that's what we should.
less interpretation, the better.
Yes. Yep.
What if
We
it's a
should
cylinder?
come up with a plan here, boys. It's 11:20. Are we
Alright.
doing all the weights? Are we doing questions? We're showing Tyler's heroic
Should we
moment.
talk about
We'll
slippery
do the
mats?
we'll do the weights. I was gonna say, I remember it used to be called like that because I remember 2012, I think it was Olympic trials. One of the Paulsons is getting like driven out of bounds and just jumps way high
Yeah.
in the air, and I don't even remember who he was wrestling. But then they stepped out first,
Dude,
and Paulson got the point.
that match I pulled up with Real Woods against Japan, that happens. Real jumps up and the Japanese guy steps out and Real gets a point.
Trick
Kind of crazy.
Okay.
74 kilograms. David Carr, your winner. Was this his A game?
No, I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I think David looked great, honestly. I don't know if just didn't feel great, but every first period was, I think he was losing at the end of every first period, or it was close. He wasn't really scoring. Just felt like timing issue on his shot. Could not get to his single leg as consistently as we'd seen. I don't know if he's getting scouted really well. Everyone at 74 in that bracket knows if I'm going to win this, I have to beat David Carr. So I felt like, Bear Claw had a great game plan. He made it tough. Yeah, I thought Bear Claw wrestled David better than anyone I saw this weekend.
Even JQ's in the finals?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember thinking later into that match, wow,
Bear Claw could win.
Bear Claw can very much win this match.
That's fair, yeah.
And then every time David got the lead, took control, he never looked back. So it's not that he wrestled poorly. I just think David sets a high bar for himself. And I don't know. I kind of was going into this being like, I expect to think David Carr is going to beat Mitchell Messenbrink after this World Team Trials. And now I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel more strongly about Mitchell than ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of like the Dake thing where you come away, nothing really gave me a lot of confidence from this performance, despite the fact that you won to improve your position at Final X. Thoughts on Caliendo? 0-2, lost to.
His loss to Bear Claw, it was weird. He kind of put himself in a 4 and then couldn't get back, but it was fine.
79, Haines dominates Amity in the finals. I forget the finals, like 10-2.
It was
it was 2-2
he was
for a
losing
while.
it. He was losing at the break,
at the
right?
break. And then just the dam kind of broke, and Levi ended up running away with it.
When Hamity was down, he started I think trying to force some things. I think he felt the urgency maybe a little bit more than he should have, and started
Yes.
taking some errant shots. And that's when Levi was able to open it up. And I really I really think that Hamity has a lot to improve on in his freestyle game.
Oh, yeah.
I think he can get a lot better. Not optimistic about Hamity's future in freestyle.
This was the craziest exchange to me right here,
Go ahead.
where Hamity gets right in on Levi's ankle, and Levi just thugs it out right here.
Thugs?
Boom.
Right
Yep.
there. And then he ends up
Oh, yeah.
scoring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was also able to, the strength of Levi's got to be pretty insane because he pulls in some shots from really tough positions. Great performance by.
That was when the dam kind of broke.
Yes.
Right after that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is a big freestyle thing that you see, like learning, like they build in some urgency that doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And I think Hamity's he's well suited for 74 or 79 kilograms, 174 pounds. So I'm excited to see what he does over the next couple of years. I hope he commits to 79.
Mhm.
I hope they're like, well, let's go.
86.
He's not going to
Yeah.
go. He's in the heat room.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
92, Barr beats Sinclair in the finals 7-3. What do you think is Barr's potential on the world stage?
I think it's high. I think he's got a lot of offense. And really in this match, he showed leg defense that even he mentioned, I'm not really known for my leg defense like this, countering and whatnot. So I think his potential is high. Like, look at that.
It's so different than how he wrestled a year ago. When he got teched by Aiden, he lost, I believe, off of his all counters, and he wins the exact opposite way this time around.
I don't think it was all. I mean, I think Aiden hit a sick drag on him.
Well, a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the weakness of Josh Barr a year ago,
Yes.
is that he would overcommit, overshoot, and then he'd get countered. He'd get caught underneath way too much. He's really progressed, obviously, in a year.
Yeah, that was a beautiful down block re-attack there by Barr. I think his potential's high. I think you have to have a lot of offense to beat Trent Hillger.
Mm-hmm.
Nami to be able to stand in their ball. If you're looking for which one of these two, regardless of who won this match, who matches up better against Trent, it was always Josh Barr,
Yeah.
regardless of who won this. So I'd be excited. I think it's a great matchup. I think Barr's got a shot, and I think both can medal at Worlds.
97 kilograms. Zilmer beats Aiello in the finals, setting up a TBD match with Kyle Snyder at Final X.
Yeah, we don't know. Just not inside info, but it feels like the vibe is that Kyle's not going to compete. And I think we would all understand that maybe being a wise decision. It may be a decision that's not even in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's a possibility, right? So there's like multiple hurdles for Kyle to wrestle. Like he can't be under safe sport suspension.
He currently is.
And he currently is.
Mm-hmm.
And then also he needs to want to do this. So it's possible that Hayden is just the rep right now and we just don't know it. But yeah, more to come there on the 97 kilogram front.
Yeah, and as I understand the process, is that if Kyle chooses not to wrestle or if he is suspended, then Zilmer is automatically the rep because the process is the process. And so if Snyder doesn't wrestle at Final X, regardless of the reason, it's just like he missed weight. Like he doesn't show up. That's the process. It's not like they're going to pull JILO in and wrestle Zilmer if that does happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then at heavyweight, Hillger beats Thomas 10-4 in the finals, setting up a match with Wyatt Hendrickson at Final X.
Cool.
Y'all were in the arena. Was it just the muggiest arena of all time that caused these mats to be slippery, or what's going on?
No.
Well, the finals were better because they
it
switched the mats.
It was the mat.
It was the mat.
It was the mat. It was not it was a humid atmosphere, but day 2 was way hotter because there weren't many people in there in day 1. Day 2, all these kids were in there. It was so hot
Because
but that was not the day they had the
problems.
The problems were on day 1, so it wasn't like the excessive mugginess. If so, then the finals would have been a mess.
Yeah.
It was just the mat. I don't know if it's a new mat or what. It wasn't broken in.
My hypothesis: someone cleaned it, didn't dilute the solution.
There you go.
That was.
That makes it more slippery.
I would agree
It does
with
make it
that.
more slippery sometimes.
I don't think that's
If
true.
it's soap, yeah.
Well, it won't wipe up as easily. It won't like evaporate like water would.
Okay.
That's a mistake that's happened in the Buffalo Gap room. If it can happen in Buffalo Gap, it can happen anywhere.
It's happened
Even
at the South Hamilton Middle School.
Yeah. One time, one of our captains just didn't know, and he just put all solution in it, no water.
Yes.
And then, like, a bunch of the kids' bangs turned blonde after wrestling.
That happened at our middle school too. Our bangs didn't turn blonde, but we all got chemical burn.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
we didn't burn. Maybe we were just all wearing sweats because we just cut hard at Buffalo.
Yeah, I did see, like, the other part of the criticism I saw was, like, overcrowded and, not an area for guys to warm up, which I don't know if that was a problem or not, but I do think there's something to, there's a positive of hosting World Team Trials during a regional event because there were so many people there.
It was awesome.
It was a really, really cool fan environment. And so anyone like criticizing that aspect of it, like the other side of it is hosting it as a standalone event in a small high school gym where there's maybe 200 people. There were thousands of people. There's so many kids, so many wrestlers. Like the environment for that reason was so cool. Even just to see like young wrestlers like coming up to guys afterwards, asking for autographs. Very unique, like that you don't see too often. And so that's the positive.
Most of the
side
complaints are coming from people that weren't even there.
Weren't even there.
You don't even know. You don't know the warm-up situation for the athletes. You're just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fun to complain, I think. But it's, I don't know. I mean, you can nitpick anything in wrestling at all times, but the atmosphere was a unique one for wrestling that you don't get often.
Honestly, I think the way forward is to schedule these events around youth wrestling tournaments where you know you have the captive audience.
Yes.
Wrestling fans, young wrestlers. That's going to be an experience those kids remember forever, especially if they're wrestling fans. So I thought that was like a really cool aspect
And
of
what Kozak said actually was the case for the last World Team. This tournament happened, last time it happened was 2023, and it was in a gym in Colorado Springs. It was just in a high school gym.
Yeah, just in a high school gym. There was basically no fans there.
So then the criticism is, oh, why can't you schedule this in a place where there's more people?
Yeah,
or more can
exactly. I
attend,
guarantee you the
where-
same
it's
people
like,
that were
come on,
complaining about what are we doing with this, but they are the same people complaining when there was like at the high school gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
The only criticism I could maybe see to that would be where athletes and coaches kind of being swarmed when maybe they wouldn't want to be by kids because they're warming up next to them and a kid's asking for an autograph and it's like, guy, I gotta
didn't
go
see a
wrestle
lot
in
of
5
that.
minutes. I don't know if that was happening or not.
No, I didn't see a lot of that. They were able to. Coaches, man, freaking back in the day, no one had any problem telling us to buzz off and get out of there and don't be. So I don't think these coaches and athletes.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
yeah.
No, I didn't see it as a problem. Certainly not on day one. Day one, you had the entire this giant venue to warm up, and even before the finals, there was like plenty of space. They were on there. The most complicated part was like if you had to like leave the mat area and like go to the restroom. It's like you did have to kind of like and
Navigate through people.
yeah, and if you are like a famous wrestler or whatever, it could slate. But like I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only way you solve that is like if you just shut down the youth tournament during the finals and like you make everybody go in the stands.
Yeah.
So whatever, like that's fair criticism, but it's not the end. It's not the end of the world for sure. And I think it's better than the alternative of having nobody there.
Yes.
All right, boys.
I think
11:32.
we got to talk. Wait,
We have to. We
gotta
already
talk.
teased it. So, what?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. This video does not come as well across through video as it does, I'm sure, in person.
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me? No, everyone that I've shown this video is like unbelievable.
Okay.
JD, the hater, always.
Do you want to
Oh,
set up the backstory?
Yes, why don't you?
Okay, so about a year and a half ago, we were at a fried chicken place here in downtown Austin, and on the TV screen came breaking news that somebody had broke the world record for a 100-meter bear crawl.
Yes.
And Tyler immediately says, "I could do that."
I could break the record.
I could break the record.
I could break
And
the
we're
record.
like, what are you talking?
15.93 seconds.
Yeah, we're like, what are you talking about? There's no way. That is 15 seconds for 100 meters is so fast bear crawling. And there just so happened to be, so
That's like a 4-minute mile pace.
yeah, it's really fast. So fast forward to this weekend in
A
Louisville.
year later.
Yeah, outside of the venue is a track and
Rubber track.
Yep. And so perfect time
We were like,
for
let's
Tyler
do
to
it.
prove himself.
Before we play this, you said everyone I have shown this to. You've been back like a day. Are you just like anybody you see, just like, hey, look at
I
this?
have a
and just
cell
like,
phone and I can send videos to people.
I know, but you're just like, hey, look at my boy bear crawl this.
I was
100
showing
dash.
people.
I know people that know Tyler. Not a big leap.
I was showing people.
I know you sent it like in our group or whatever. I'm just imagining you'd be like, yo, check out my boy's 100-meter bear crawl.
I just sent it to Carrie. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I send it to everyone I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, we can play it.
All right. So it's put up or shut up time for Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can't hear the audio, but I immediately shocked them. They both started laughing because they didn't realize that I was going to be a freak athlete like this.
Look at this guy. So I thought I could like fast walk there. No, he's like a demon leopard running.
And here's
Okay.
the thing. Here's some backstory here, too. This morning, I woke up at 4
Brando's on the
a.m.
track. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I woke up at 4 a.m. because I couldn't sleep because I'm still jet lagged from Japan. And I was trying to work out before I show you the hand reveal. I was trying to work out so I could get tired so I could go back to sleep. So I went ham on the bike and the elliptical in the hotel. So my legs were sore. I had to hobble back to my room before I went to try to go back to sleep. So I hit a little bit of a wall. I think I could easily shave some time off of this. But
All right, so
But
this was
his hands, I mean,
At what
open
cost? You know what I'm saying?
wounds.
er,
He was bleeding all over the place.
yeah, it was not
Look at his hands.
just the skin all over the place.
yeah.
So now, now show them how they look now.
Yeah, this is my hand. These are my hands now.
Check them out. They're
My
healing
hands-
up.
My hands look like this, so Space hands can blog.
Yes. So I was just, I respect.
And his time, you can
His time was 23 seconds.
Yeah.
23
Now,
seconds.
my mindset, I went into coach mode here.
Yep.
Because I'm like, we're going to get the right equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get the right shoes. We're going to get the right, he's wearing his skater pants, a big shirt. We're going to get.
We're not going to let him wake up at 4 a.m. and work out.
No.
No, we're not
We're
doing
going
that.
we're going to peak his body and we're going to give a run. If he breaks 20, that I believe he will do, we're going after the record.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to train up and get ready. Because I think a 23 first run, I bet that is the fastest first run 100-meter bear crawl in the world.
In the world.
I bet no one's done that.
No one.
I'm willing to say it. If you have a video to the contrary, I want to see it. But right now, I'm
bare
saying my
hands,
boys,
too.
until proven otherwise, Tyler has the world record for the first attempt.
You've bear crawled 100 meters before, though, no?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
Well, never for speed.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
I've never done it like in a race. I've probably done it like after a workout. All right, bear crawl. But
because
I've
you bear crawled before.
I've never been on a track. I've never had
Right.
it measured start to
Yeah.
finish.
So current record holder, Colin McClure, your days are numbered.
Yeah.
Tyler's coming.
Your days are numbered.
We need to
buddy.
tag him in this. Colin, you are screwed. Okay? So, you know what, Colin? This could be the best thing that ever happened to you. Because you've probably been resting on your 15-point whatever laurels thinking no one's ever going to beat this. Well, I'm just telling you right now, first attempt, we're 8 seconds off. We're coming. And by we, I mean Tyler. But I'm going to be part of it in some way.
When did you know you were so good at bear crawls?
Honestly, I have no idea. I wish I had a funny answer to that.
He
'Cause
just said.
you clearly knew, and
I knew that I was. I just know. I've always been good at it.
But here's the thing with Tyler. He says a lot of stuff that he thinks he can do that he cannot do.
He said he could be an NFL punter.
He said he could be. Yes, exactly.
I
So
could do that too.
This is a prime example of you see, Tyler has so much. So I was just another eye roll Tyler thing because he said literally I could be. I did.
Like,
he
this
didn't
guy
know.
is not here.
He did not know that punter was a position you could be. Like just a punter, and then he immediately went from this exists to I could
This
be that.
I don't think this is Colin.
Oh, okay.
I
but
think this
is
is the
this is a
old-
different one.
This is the old.
This is
record.
just like okay, but this is a good example for like how fast. Oh, wait, did you see that?
Yeah.
He
started.
got
It's a
he
DQ.
got a running
Look at him.
start, and then he hopped on.
He got
This
his
is
that
DQ.
momentum.
Look at the caption. The auto caption is. We
think
can say it was one of the creepiest world records today.
Oh, you can get there.
See, basically,
you could have that creepiest world record.
You had that pace early. and then you fell off a cliff.
I fell off a little bit.
I don't know. That's insane.
No, that,
I don't know, man.
Fast as that.
Early on,
I could do it easy.
I almost threw up. I was laughing so hard. I was just so, the combination of how fast he was and how surprised I was, and then that he just completely wrecked his hands. The coolest part of the weekend,
Quickly nicknamed
The monkey man.
here's the funniest part, is like, we're meeting people and talking to people, and everyone's there, shaking hands, is customary. And Tyler's explaining to people, like, yeah, my hands are
Bloody.
sorry, my hands are bloody. And Jesse Mendez's dad, Hector, he goes, give me the blood, man.
I
Shake
shook my
hands.
hand
I
anyways.
was like, that's why you're the coolest. Mr. Mendez. So yeah, crazy. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
And man, the show is over, whether we like it or not.
We didn't
It's
get to any
11:40.
questions.
We can get to
There's so
8
many.
questions, and I'm gone. I'm going to. I won't be here for the next show, but y'all will have a great show, I'm sure, next Thursday, because we're meeting with our friends USA Wrestling at Colorado Springs. So I won't be there, but I think it'll be Kozak and Spay along with JD and Tyler. So more to get into. And thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back Thursday, 10 Central. A lot to talk about from World Team Trials, more Final X previews, and any other news on the Snyder front, I'm sure we'll be discussing. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to our producers, Ed and Amanda back there. For JD, Kozak, Tyler, I'm Christian Piles. See you next time.